Just enjoying some comfort food. I think we can safely say, Spider-Man, farewell. I think it's pretty much a given. Spider-Man will never come back to the MCU. Shit. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing. And the reason I say this, all this stuff right now, is because articles are flooding on the internet as we speak, and have been for at least maybe 10 or 11 hours, where the Sony's Sony has said the door's closed. So that's it. It's done. So guys, girls, ladies, gents, I think we can all stop speculating now. I think it's a given. Spider-Man's gone and he ain't coming back. They've said that you never know what will happen down the road, but they've said the door's closed for now. So that tells me that we ain't going to see him back until Tom's probably like 30 odd. If he's still in the role. Like, Spider-Man will not be back in the MCU until maybe Phase 7. Because the way I see it, Sony are going to risk going it alone. They're going to try their little Sony universe or Venomverse, whatever they're calling it. And, you know, the best out of this situation is we're potentially going to get a live-action Spider-Verse movie. That is a highly possible thing now, right? With the character of Miles, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, maybe Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. There is a lot of room to make that a possibility now. Venom and Spider-Man crossing over. You've got the Morbius movie coming. So it's like the little Sony-verse kind of thing. But there's an article here. So I've got two articles. I've got one by The Sun, which is a local paper over here in the UK. Let me just have a bit of this is good. Icing kills the fever. Right. Bang. So, here we go. Spider-Man fans' hopes that the films will return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe have been dashed after Sony Pictures confirmed the door is closed. Shit. Sony, the rights holder to the Spider-Man franchise, and Disney-owned Marvel Studios. Oh, also, I want to say, there's another part of the deal where Sony can do hour-long episodes, like hour-long TV episodes with the character, and Marvel can only do it if it's under half an hour, and not live action. So I think that's the ground rule. I think Emergency Awesome mentioned something about it. So go over there and get some feedback from Charlie. Right? So, continuing on, Disney-owned Marvel Studios has been locked in a standoff in recent weeks after it was announced that the superhero movies will no longer be a part of the Marvel family. Fans had hoped that Marvel boss Kevin Feige's decision to no longer produce any more Spider-Man films would be reversed. But Sony Pictures chairman Tony Vinciquerra has revealed that won't happen anytime soon. Speaking at Variety's Entertainment and Technology Summit, he said, "For the moment, the door is closed." He added that there is no ill will between Sony and Disney. Bullshit! But did give fans a glimmer of hope at a reconciliation between the two companies in future. It's a long life, he said. No, it's not. Life's short. That's why you do things in fear of, you know, tomorrow never being promised. Well, that are bollocks. But I get what he means. But Tony did express his Do you see the irony in this? Spider-Man's gone from the MCU, and the guy who's making the decision is called Tony. Tony did express his objection to many Marvel diehard fans claiming that the Spider-Man franchise will be lost without Kevin Feige. Yes, it will. Okay, there's just pictures of Spider-Man holding onto shit. We had a great run with Feige on the Spider-Man movies. We tried to see if there's a way to work it out. The Marvel people are terrific people. We have great respect for them. But on the other hand, we have some pretty terrific people of our own. Kevin didn't do all the work. Here we go. Tom Holland has played the webbed hero since 2016. Recently said he had full confidence in Sony being able to continue the Spider-Man franchise without Marvel's involvement. The legacy and future of Spider-Man rests in Sony's safe hands. Safe. They fucked up 2 Spider-Men already. I wouldn't say, I doubt they're anything but safe. They've got great soundtracks and great visuals, but stories are shit. Except Spider-Man 2. I mean, Spider-Man 2 and 1. We like them films. And Into the Spider-Verse. You know. I really am nothing but grateful, and I've made friends for life along the way. Thomas starred in Spidey in 6 films: Civil War, Spider-Man, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, and Far From Home. With the news of the Sony-Marvel split was first announced, Sony expressed their disappointment at how things worked out. They said in a statement, much of today's news about Spider-Man has mischaracterized recent discussions about Kevin Feige's involvement in the franchise. We are disappointed but respect Disney's decision to not have him continue as a lead producer of our next live-action Spider-Man film. We hope this might change in the future, but understand that many new responsibilities that Disney has given him, including all their newly added Marvel properties, do not allow him the time to work on the IP they do not own. Many fans wasted little time calling for a boycott of the hit movies. Don't boycott, that makes no sense. While others went further and said that the 23-year-old actor Tom should refuse to play the character. One tweeted, Tom Holland should boycott and drop out of Spider-Man 3 to force Sony to work with Marvel. Spider-Man 3 would tank without Holland and the MCU behind it. Right. A few things. 1, boycotting something you love makes no sense. And 2, boycotting, has it ever worked? Has it ever worked? You can say no to that answer. Right? 3, it's about as useful as them petitions. 4, Tom Holland is not going to step down from playing Spider-Man. He loves the role. He has too much fun with it. 5, Sony's hands are not safe hands. They did Into the Spider-Verse. Venom was a fun movie. And once upon a time, Spider-Man 1 and 2 were a thing. But Sony were the reason Spider-Man 3 failed. They were the reason the Amazing Spider-Man films failed. That's 2 Spider-Men. Are we going to have a third? Because what will happen is, it might make $1 billion on the fact that it's Tom Holland, and it's going to be an adventure without MCU stuff. But this is the problem. This is the actual problem. You can't tie all the villains, right? All the villains to Tony Stark, and then all of a sudden, everyone forgets about them. So you bring Mysterio and Vulture and Shocker and Scorpion back, and all of a sudden, they think to themselves, hang on, why are we trying to kill you again? And he's like, I don't know, wasn't it over some guy in a suit or something? I can't remember what my villain motivations are. That's what we're facing now, unless they just reboot it. And I don't want them to do that either, because then you're just going to confuse people even more. Man, you do not want to turn this into the DCEU, right? I know that's a bit far, but you do not want to turn this into the DCEU. And before anyone comes at me and says, oh, you're a Marvel fanboy, look at that. Fuck, man, I need some more comfort food. A Belgian bun helps the bullshit go down. Right, let's read the same story, but on another website. So this one comes from GameSpot, and I just do that because I find when you read one article, you get quite a narrow view. It's a bit like if you read one newspaper on, let's say, over here, let's say what Boris Johnson's doing, or over in America what Donald Trump's doing. I feel if you read one paper, your views are quite restricted. If you read a multitude of papers, you get a load of opinions, and it's easier to form your own because you know all points of view, kind of thing. And the funny thing is, there's no agenda here. Like there is no agenda. There is no agenda. And Easter egg to Arsenal Fan TV. If you know, you know. But there's no agenda here by the websites. They're not trying to, you know, push an idea behind the way they tell the Spider-Man story. It's just how they word it. You know, some websites will make Disney look like the villains, and some people will make Sony look like the villains. So it varies, but got a headache. Right. And we go again. Sony confirms that Spider-Man is out of the MCU. I'm just going to skim it and see if there's... Is that it? Oh, there's no... It's just like a little blurb. Right. Here's the way it's got to go down for me. Continue with the storyline this guy set up. Focus. Continue with the storyline that guy set up, right? And then, fine, have him be his own thing then. Fine. But you can't tell me that Marvel's plan was to make him the next big thing. He was supposed to be the next Stark. That's what they gave him all the stuff for. And I think Disney did that on purpose, right? Because they know if they give this most popular character ever all of this guy's stuff when he's dead, right? And you take Spider-Man out, it's not like you've just taken just Spider-Man. You've taken everything that this guy died for out. His character arc's still Tony Stark, innit? You know, beginning, middle, end. But I'm just saying, part of his journey towards the end was realizing that there were others who could carry it on. There was a next generation. There was a new blood. As he even said in the start of Endgame to Captain Marvel. You know, you're new blood. We need you. Bunch of tired old mules or something. Right? He even said it. So, this creates a whole world of problems going forward. I have no doubt in my mind that Sony are going to make some visually stunning scenes. But the problem with a Sony film is you got to switch off your brain. You got to actually turn off your brain for half an hour. Because some of the shit just don't, like, it just doesn't, it just hurts you. It hurts my head to think about it. I mean, in Spider-Man 3, it's one of them occasions where I know it's a bad movie, but I wouldn't give it back. Because even with the, you know, that, it's memorable. Like, it's a meme. You can't forget it. And poor Tobey Maguire is going to have that haunting him to the end of his days. You know, it's going to be a thing forever. But I think the problem here is that, you know, I mean, people are saying we've had it so good. And it's like, it's true, but to be fair, I have always said Endgame is my conclusion. Going forward, I don't care. Like, I care, because I'm still a fan, but I'm not as invested. The minute the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are brought in, then we can start talking again. But until that day, I'm not really asked. I don't, like, She-Hulk's a cool character, but she's a side character. I don't know if I want to watch a show on her. Miss Marvel, we've got 3 of them now, and only 2 of them are any interesting. And the one there that's shoved in our faces 24/7 is about as interesting as a piece of paper. Yeah, she's powerful. Yay, strong female character here. We get it. We get it. She's strong. I get it. But that doesn't make a character liked. Look at Thor. He's arguably the most powerful Avenger, right? Especially in the OG6. But why do people like Iron Man more? Why do people like Cap more? Because they like their characters and their stories. Even though Thor is more powerful than both of them. We only like Thor more now because of Ragnarok. Let's just be real. Like in Thor 1 and Thor 2, right? Them movies were accurate to the Norse mythology of gods. But the films could have been better. And Ragnarok really brought Thor into his own and gave him such a spotlight. He was at the peak of his, like, being over with the fans. You know, like in wrestling when a wrestler gets over with the fans. You know, he was like that. I was excited as hell to see him going into Infinity War. I thought, fuck, you know, this dude will fuck Thanos up. I mean, for them to say he's the most powerful in Endgame, alright, maybe. But you don't feel that because he's fat. Alright, it was funny, but do some like lightning bullshit and give him his abs and stuff back. Because I tell you, that Infinity War Thor at the end, fully charged up with Stormbreaker, fucking smacked him. Give him Mjolnir and double the power. I'm telling you, he would have gone to town on him. And the thing is, as comic fans, this is what bothers me. What these normies don't understand. When I tell you Thor would kill Thanos on his own, he would. comic Thor would smoke everyone on this poster. Everyone. As much as we all love them, as much as we love Captain America, you know, people like Captain Marvel, we've got to call it what it is, people like War Machine, Hawkeye, everyone on this poster, and beyond, right, he would smoke all of them. Because his power has never been fully displayed on the screen until Infinity War. That was like, I was like, finally, we're finally getting some Thor we deserve, at last. Not necessarily maybe the story of the film he was in, but his power level. This guy had lightning oozing from his bloody skin. He didn't need no hammer or no axe. So you give him a hammer and an axe, he should have killed Thanos like that. But again, this isn't about Thor. That's an entirely different video. I've gone off topic. This is about Spider-Man. See, I think about Spider-Man, ITye. It's very disappointing. It's very, very disappointing. And, you know, I know we've only had him a few films, but to be fair, most of the MCU is going downhill from here. And I can already feel you just slamming on the keyboards and headbutting it. Just cool your pants. It's gonna drop. It will. That's just how it works. It's like when you do anything. When you get to, let's say, The Force Awakens, it's natural that it's going to dip after that, and it did. And the Solo film fucking failed. You know, it's natural. It happens to businesses. This happens to businesses every day that aren't in the film industry. Happens every day. You just don't hear about it. So, this isn't anything new, but superhero fatigue will set in. We've got 23 movies. 23 movies in the Infinity Saga. Then, you've got like 5 films and like 6 TV shows in Phase 4. Right? This is going to be part of maybe the Doom Saga. Or the Galactus Saga. Or something. Or the Eternal Saga. You know, something like that. And when you fast forward to then, we're going to have about 60 films and 20 TV shows. Like, as Stuart said, we've all got flipping lives. Like, I'm happy that we're getting all this. I'm loving it. Of course I'm loving it. But we've all got lives to lead. And I think people need to kind of, you know, get on board with the idea that we don't all sit around all day behind a screen. You know, it's nice to do it, but we've all got lives to lead. And if you think about it, do you know how much struggle I've got as a Star Wars fan and a Marvel fan? Right? I've got to stay spoiler free from any spoilers for episode 9 while watching The Mandalorian episode a week, then watching the Cassian Andor series when it comes out, then watching the Clone Wars, then watching Kenobi, right? Throw it on Marvel, then watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then Loki, then Hawkeye, then Moon Knight, then Miss Marvel, then She-Hulk, then WandaVision, maybe. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And, you know, I'm thinking to myself, you know, you're giving Wanda and Vision a little show to themselves. It's just to fill a slot, really, isn't it? It's not... I mean, you say it's going to tie into Doctor Strange too, but this is the problem. It all connects, so you can't pick and choose. You know, you can't say, I'll have a little bit of WandaVision, I'll have a little bit of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'll have a little bit of Hawkeye. I'll have a bit of Loki next week. You know, you can't do that because the fan in you will not be able to resist the urge to go and watch it because it's all connected. And if you've gone this far, you'll just carry on. That's the problem. This is why I am considering getting the streaming service. One, because for about under a tenner a month, I don't mind all that content. And to have all the movies and everything all in the one place, from The Simpsons, Star Wars, everything, I don't mind paying that. And it makes it easier to actually watch them all in the one place instead of finding places to watch them. You know what I mean? I don't mind paying that. That's fine. But, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot to watch. And it's great that we're getting all of these, for sure. And I never would have thought, right? Let me grab it. Where is it? Right. I love this comic. I absolutely love this comic. This was such a good story. I mean, the story of Spider-Man, Black Panther, Fantastic Four, the X-Men, Captain America, Iron Man. You've even got Cable in this. Seriously, if you haven't read this, go and get it now. And I'm telling you, go and get it now. It's a great read, good to fall asleep on. Let me just... Maybe you guys can see it. There we go. But, oh, fuck it, just shove it there. There we go. But yeah, it's, you know, I mean, nothing lasts forever. Black Widow said it in the Age of Ultron trailer that nothing lasts forever, so we've just got to deal with the hand we're dealt and move on. But oversaturation is a big problem with the MCU at the minute. And then the rumor is that Sony are going to be doing 6 live-action TV shows for Spider-Man, and I'm just sat here thinking, oh, are they trying to plug us into our TVs permanently? Like, I can't sit there for an hour for one episode, for one show, and there's like 10 to watch. So, I'm going to be honest with you guys, as much as I want to say I will watch all of them, in all honesty, I'm going to use the 3-episode rule. If you don't know what that is, the 3-episode rule, and this was brought up in the last group podcast I did with the guys, so also if you're watching this, every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. and around 7 p.m. Eastern time for you Americans out there, is the time that we do a stream. We just basically do a bit of a roundup of the latest in pop culture, and we all give our 2 cents. And then I do a solo stream in the week, and I do videos like this in between, reactions, reviews, general discussion. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscription button down below. I really, really appreciate it. We marched to 900 subs, and within the next month it will be our 1-year anniversary, so I'm going to be trying to put a compilation of all the best highlights from the year gone. And going into the 2nd year, now I know what I'm doing a bit more with this YouTube thing. Trust me, we're going to see some major changes and major growth, so make sure you're here for it. But yeah, like, you know, I want to say that I want to watch all the shows and stuff, but that just isn't going to happen. You know, I mean, it's a WandaVision show, sounds cool, but if it's not hooked me within 3 episodes, I'm off, because there's so much to watch. You've got to choose what you watch carefully. You know, I've been watching My Hero Academia recently, and I've still got so much to do with it. I'm only like 6 episodes in, and I've still got a long way to go. But it's just finding the time to do all of this. That's the thing. It's great we're getting all of these, and then people say, oh, just don't get spoiled. It's like, you can't not. Like, I knew there was a sizzle reel being released for Star Wars the other day. I thought it was just going to be a 10-second montage of the leaked pictures. That's what I thought it was going to be. I loaded up Instagram, unknowingly knowing that the sizzle reel had dropped, and I see Rey in Darkseid clothing and a red lightsaber, and I'm like, well, I may as well watch the rest now, shan't I? But yeah, guys and girls, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and how do you think they're going to approach this going forward? Because these are the questions we need to ask now. It's basically set in stone. It doesn't matter whose fault it was anymore. We need to ask the questions. How are they going to move forward with this? That's the question we need to ask. How is it going to affect the story? Are these lot going to be mentioned at all? Because there's no way Disney are going to let Sony talk about Marvel. So that's going to make the whole thing awkward. You see the story issue it's created. It would be like having Yoda train Luke in Empire Strikes Back, and then in Return of the Jedi he goes to see Yoda, and he's like, why did I come here? Someone teaching me or something? I don't know. Like, that's exactly what's going to happen. And if they play it off for a joke, I'm going to be pissed off. But yeah, that's all I have to say on it. I'm tired. Got work in a few hours. Got to enjoy my bun. I will see you all in another video soon. Where is it? Do you know what? Before you guys go, I want you to watch the scene where he's dying. Watch the scene where Spider-Man's dying in Infinity War. where he says, I don't want to go. Yeah. I don't want to go. Stick Marvel on one side and Sony on the other. And then have Spider-Man fade out. That's what that scene means now. But, see another video, guys. We're in for a rough ride with the fate of this saga. See ya.